Hi guys, today we're talking about the cost of hearing aids. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Michael Squires.
And I'm Dr. Carly Squires.
This is Dr. Squires Squared.
This is a channel where we have candid and casual conversations all about audiology.
Not sure what audiology is? Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Get our new content notifications by hitting that little bell, and we're going to talk to you all about it. All right, everybody, today we're talking about the cost of hearing aids. Carly's going to take the casual approach, and I'm going to have the candid approach. So I'm candid, she's the casual conversation. Today we're going to talk about the cost of hearing aids. So what goes into the cost of hearing aids? All right, everybody, thanks for joining us on this third out of 3 episodes in this series about barriers to treating your hearing loss. Today we're talking about cost of the hearing aids, but what I want to do, or what we want to do to preface this episode, is come right out and say what this episode is not.
Right. So we are not going to have an entire episode about every little thing that may go into the cost of devices. A quick Google search, you can read some articles. There are other YouTube videos out there that we know of that name off the different components that may make up that cost of hearing aids. Some of those being research and development, provider fees, if providers may bundle certain things, services and goods into that total cost. That's something that we all kind of know is there, but we're going to take a little bit of a different approach to that.
Yeah, and I think it's important too to mention that we're not here to defend the cost of hearing aids. We're not here to defend how other providers price their hearing aids in a retail environment, but we are here to address a very important thing that comes up very often, and what I think people really want to know is, can we get affordable hearing health care at a lower price and still address the issues appropriately? So that's what we are going to talk about today. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about what is affordable. I think it's really important to differentiate between cheap and affordable. You can buy affordable anything in any industry, but you can also buy cheap of anything in any industry. And it's no different for the hearing industry. You can find really, really expensive hearing aids, depending on where you are and what you're looking for. But you can also find affordable options. But you can also find really cheap options. And those two things are very different. And I think that we have to, as providers and as consumers or patients, approach this on a very individual basis.
Right. I talk to my patients a lot about it being an investment, and I know you use that term a lot too. Yes, and it's an investment of money. It's a financial investment, but it's also an investment in your health. And we've talked about this in previous episodes. What hearing and untreated hearing loss are all linked to that do make this a healthcare issue where you're investing into your healthcare. And then the other thing that Michael said was just that this is such an individualized process. So what's affordable to one person may not be affordable to somebody else. Somebody may come and say, I only want the hearing aids to do these things. This is my expectation. This is really all I want. And that's a very different scenario than maybe somebody else who has all of these different listening needs and expectations. And so the fact that everything is so individualized and based on the patient, it leads back to the thing we've been saying for how many episodes now, is the number one thing you have to do if you're a patient that is in need of hearing health care is go first to a provider. Put that in the hands of the provider to be able to guide you through your best options, because everything is so unique to you.
Man, I have to say one other thing on this topic is, when you find a provider that you trust and you go to them and you say, what's your recommendation, doctor? And they offer you premium hearing aids, it's not coming from a place of greed in most cases. It's coming from a place of, this would be my recommendation for you. We don't want to get an implant of any sort that is made out of recycled pop bottles. that would be the cheap option. No surgeon is going to recommend something like that. They're going to recommend something that's going to hold up, that is backed by research, and that they have a lot of confidence in. And in our profession, it's not going to be any different. I'm going to recommend premium hearing aids to every single patient that comes to me. That does not mean that's the only option. So don't let anybody talk you in or out of that, but also don't discount that that is a legitimate recommendation, because it's going to set our patients up for the best case scenario of treating the majority of hearing losses.
Absolutely, and it's important to also note that we are going to recommend what's best for your hearing. So we know what's best for your hearing based on the testing that we've done, or the testing that you've brought to us to interpret. We're going to know what's best based on that, based on your expectations, based on your listening needs. But we are not in charge of your finances.
Right.
We have no say in that. And so that's where we have to meet in the middle and find out, okay, what's something that's going to meet your expectations and cover all of this, but that's also going to be comfortable for you, because everyone is different, and that's kind of how we approach things in that way here.
Yeah, that's the definition of patient-centered care. We can't, it's irresponsible for us as healthcare providers to make recommendations based on what we think is in somebody's wallet. And that's irresponsible and, quite frankly, unethical. So as a consumer and a patient, or a patient who becomes a consumer, that you have to be part of that healthcare decision. You have to be part of that conversation. If somebody comes to me and says, "Doc, tell me what your best recommendation is," it's going to be premium. But if we start there and they say, "That's just really not going to work for me financially," then we're going to find a great product that's going to address the hearing loss, that's affordable but not cheap. Let's talk quickly about the difference between cheap and affordable. One thing that I've noticed over the course of this coronavirus, I don't know what it is and I don't know why it's happening, but as I scroll through Facebook, I see continual new ads for different types of hearables or hearing devices or whatever. The FDA has cleared over-the-counter hearing aids, or the federal government has approved that. The FDA is working on coming up with guidelines for over-the-counter hearing aids, which means you as the consumer will be able to order hearing aids online very easily, or find them over-the-counter in different places. What that means is you'll be treating your own hearing loss. While that, quite frankly, concerns me a little bit, treating your own health care or health issues that maybe you don't have a lot of expertise in concerns me, but I do think that it provides a really viable way for people to seek hearing health care. What I would say is make sure to loop a provider in. And if you go to a provider that says, "I refuse to help you with that device," find another provider that will. The point is, addressing your hearing is a journey. You have to find somebody who's willing to walk with you on that journey and help you no matter what your buying decisions are going to be. Carly made a really good point earlier. We have a philosophy in our clinic.
Yeah, we really try to make sure that if you need hearing help of some kind, we don't want you to walk away without. So we don't want cost to be a barrier. It is a barrier that a lot of people have identified as an obstacle to jump through to get hearing health care, but we want everyone to understand that if you go to a provider that you trust and that there are a lot of options and you're just upfront with them and we're all kind of working on the same page, there is most generally some sort of option that can help you achieve better hearing based on those expectations and those needs. And so that's what we really want everyone to know, is that we do not want cost to be a barrier.
Absolutely. And as a frugal people ourselves, we understand what an investment means. You work hard for that money and you want to invest it in a place that you feel most comfortable, or keep it local perhaps. So rather than buying a cheap set of hearing aids that we don't know much about online across the country, keep it local, ask for whatever options that you need, and let your provider help you down that path.
All right, guys, that's a wrap on the cost of hearing aids as part 3 in a 3-part series of barriers standing between you and treating your hearing loss.
So one of the things that I want to kind of cap off here at the end is, as you listen to these barriers, educate yourself on how to overcome those barriers, or don't let them be barriers. Find a healthcare provider, a hearing healthcare provider that you feel confident and comfortable with, so that these don't become barriers to you treating your hearing loss.
And if you have questions or ideas for future topics of this podcast, please let us know. You can email us at info@hearwv.com. You can call us at 304-428-2403. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this channel.
Until next time.
Thank you.